Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to all my distinguished followers. I want to welcome you here tonight to another broadcast brought to you proudly by Distinct Broadcast Network. I am yours truly, Minister Javon H Rembert, loud, live, and in color. And I want to take this time and this opportunity to introduce to you my very special guest. I know that many of you have heard about the tragedy that just struck us, and I say us because she's like a family member to myself, and I know I could have actually shared to you the story, but I wanted you to get a chance to hear the story straight from the source. As I call it, Channel 66 News. That is, that's the black market. That's the Facebook news. Many people have their way of painting a portrait or giving to you their version, but it's nothing like hearing the story straight from the source. So, as I said before, I'm overjoyed and I'm just ecstatic right now just to get the opportunity to have a very, very, very special person here tonight with me inside of the studio that is willing to share her testimony. This is not something just to give you something to talk about, tweet about, share. This is something for you to actually learn. This is a message to the friends, to the parents, and to the followers. I'm going to give her a chance to introduce herself. If you will, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Hi, my name is Ingrid Rodriquez. I graduated from Hallandale High School, class of 1991. I used to be very active in the community back in the 90s. I have 6 children. I was partially a single mother, but was with their father for 13 years, and then I became a single mom. And all of my children, I raised them by myself with help with others, you know, uncles, excuse me, stepdads, and family members also helped me raise my children. But it was a struggle, but I did it, and I loved every moment of it. I don't regret any moment of it as well.
So you say your mother has 6 children.
Yes.
How many boys? How many girls?
3 girls and 3 boys.
So you had a balance.
Yes.
So in other words, 3 boys, 3 girls. Tell us about the boys. Were they active in any type of sports? Were the girls active in any type of sports? Because listen, it's okay to be a single mother or a single father, and you have one child. You know, may want to play basketball, one may want to play football, one may want to cheer, soccer, step, whatever it may be. But then to have 6 children, all in one house, in one room, what type of experience could that have been?
It was always fun in my house. My house was always the house that all the children wanted to come to. I've always had nephews and nieces, extra children at my house at all times.
So now you didn't only have your 6, but you had everybody else want to come over to Auntie Ingrid's house just to come have fun.
Yes.
Now, what about some of the things that you can remember about your children coming up? The love, hey, we already know there's gonna be some fighting, and you know what? Just let us know about how it felt being in Mama house with 6 people. You know.
It was interesting. I mean, they all had their own personalities. Everybody was different, but they all loved each other. They were loyal to each other and loved each other, to the point where if someone got in trouble and they didn't want to tell, everybody got in trouble.
So that's all for one.
Yeah, all for one. Everybody got it.
I'm not telling this, we're going to ride it out, in other words. So let me ask you a question. You said that the fact that they loved each other, but they all had their different personalities. Now, which one of your children would you say had your characteristics? Not that you want to throw shade, or as the kids say, towards anybody else, but which one would you say had more likely like you?
I would say my son Wajiyb, because he was he was very caring and very, like, he would give his last to a person, and that's how I would be. He would do like just things that would amaze you, even as a child.
Wow.
Just like go help a person, go give homeless, give us $1 to a homeless person, whatever. And that's how I am. So I would say Wajiyb would probably
the one after you.
Yeah, most of my kids.
Okay, so now was Wajiyb the more favorite one out of the 6? Because you know every parent always say, I love all my children equal. But would you say, which one you think you loved on a little bit more than others?
I can't really say that because I really
you got one that you
I
loved
really did love them all at the same time, but there was always he was always closer to me. I'm gonna say he was always closer to me, and he would always like make sure I was all right. Even as a child, like sleep by me. He would sleep. Sometimes I wake up and like, what are you doing? He's right over me. You okay, mom? You okay? I got sleep app. You know, he thinking I'm about to die or something.
So in other words, he was worried about you. Now, let me ask you a question. Which child would you say probably was like, you know, about him being that so attached to you? Because, you know, I put it this way. Out of my mother's children, I am the first one. So, you know, at first it seemed like I got all the attention because I was the oldest one. And then, you know, when it came down to my dad, I'm just one out of probably a million. So I was just the one that was like, I felt least favored, if I could say, because I was like, why every time I turn around, this one getting something? But of course, as the children got older, you know, the younger ones needed more attention than the older one did. So which one you think would look at it like, man, he always get out of love? You know, you had that one child.
I think it was one my youngest daughter. I would say Mecca because she was spoiled with her, like the grandparents spoiled her. But she would, like, you know, she was just a baby girl, and she just thought she could have her way any kind of way.
So she wasn't there.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that you have told us about yourself, and I want to make sure I put it out there that she is a proud charge of Hollandale High School, so I want to make sure I put that out there, because I am the Alumni Friends Association president. That's right. I want to, I thank you for even just sharing to us about, you know, your house, because, you know, like you said, sometimes people have a way of, when they hear about certain things or they see things, they have a way of just thinking that, you know, oh, this child mustn't have this. You made sure to mention that your house was full of love. And one thing I can witness about your children, whom I love dearly, I have never walked out of the presence of your children, any one of them, or even receiving phone calls for them for whatever reason it could have been, and they don't say these 3 words: I love you. To me, and I'm telling you, and I'm being honest with you with this, that made me practice that even with my own nieces and nephews. Anytime I walk out their presence, because you never know when it could be the last time. And to me, that some kids are not validated, you know, and this is something I want to make sure I share with my listeners. We might need to practice that a little bit more. Letting our children know that we love them, letting each other know that we love you, because we, like you said, I mean, like I was just saying, excuse me, you never know when is that last time. Now that you shared with us again about yourself, and you shared with us about your family, when did you notice a change in your children? You know, you spoke about them coming up and being on top of you and being 6, and not only just being 6, but nieces and nephews coming over. At what point, as a single mother, you know, why you became single is nobody's business. That's for you and the father and your children to know. But what I want to know is, when did you notice a change in your children?
Well, I noticed a change in the girls when they got to high school, when they, you know, you got that, you know, want to be grown and know everything.
The whole dating experience.
Yeah.
Okay. We know
well, not really the dating experience is just trying to hang out later. You know, I want to stay out more than the curfew, and thinking that they could go to this club or whatever. And you're not going to the club.
Gotcha.
But, you know, we bumped heads with that. And then with the boys, it was mostly like when they turned, like in the middle school years, and then after my job downsized and I had to move out of the area that I was living at, and I came back to the area, to Hollandale area, thinking that it would probably be safer for my children to be here because, you know, it was family, a lot of family members were around here, and being that I was a single mom and I worked most of the day, they could keep an eye on my kids and let me know what was going on, whatever.
So let me ask you a question. So you're living at this time, you're living in Fort Lauderdale, and You have all 6 of your children in the same house. Everything is fine. You're working. You're a single mother. And now all of a sudden you get hit with the storm that your job is downsizing. When your job decided to downsize, you decided to, like anybody really would, I can imagine, let me go surround myself with family. Some people that I know that have my back. Some people that if I need some help, I have help nearby. Yeah. And what happened then?
Yeah, because I thought, well, you know, when you're around family, at least they'll, you know, it was like that for a little bit. They looked out and, you know, make sure that they drove around my house and let me know what's going on or whatever. And then, you know, once they started hanging out with the wrong people or either getting into the wrong things, and, you know, you got people calling you, oh, your son is doing this and that, you know, and I'm questioning my boys. I'm looking around the house. And I did everything, you know, that I possibly could as a parent, from whooping their behinds to, you know, taking stuff away to calling the police on them to everything that I can.
So
try to save them.
And that's what I was just getting ready to say. Now, this may sound foreign, it may sound strange to you, because I brought y'all up in the house, 6 children, and the kids are not blind. They all of them are coherent. You see me loving on you. You see me providing, and now all of a sudden you see mother get struck with a hardship where I had to relocate us from one location to another location, and it could have been, like you said, the environment. And most times that's what happens. It's the environment that we place ourselves in. And that's not just with children, that's with adults as well. If we don't be careful to what we do with ourselves and who we surround ourselves by, we begin to fall into the pattern of who we associate ourselves with. And so now you're telling us, as just listening to the story, that okay, now I move my family, my children, to be around more family, what I thought would have been a better situation, but come to find out this situation is it's overbearing. And one thing that grabbed my attention is that when you made the point of saying, hey, I even had to call the police. Why was the police called?
Because there was a couple of incidents that other parents in the community brought to me and to my attention. And, you know, if that particular incident, I found what they were talking about. Wow. I called the police because I wanted to set an example. You're not doing this. You know, this is what happens, and I'm not going to play with you like that. So. And
that goes to show, and not to cut you off, but I want to make sure we keep the points here. Parents, it's okay. In other words, you let parents know if you see something in your house that don't belong, you know, it's better that you call the police on your own children to set that precedence, that let them know this is nothing I'm going for. Yeah. And I give you courage for that. I give you kudos, I give you cheers, and I praise you from doing that, because this is showing that you really trying to do whatever you have to do to save your children.
There was even times when people in the community that came to me and said that, you know, or whatever happened in my house, blah, blah, blah. And I would tell them, well, what was it? And I would look around, I was find it, here it is, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And that has happened a couple of times as well. And them same people, you know, they look at you like you're a scum, like you know, they won't sit there and see
like the
point that I'm trying to make. Yes. Like, you coming over here trying to fight me, but yeah, I'm telling you, I'll look around and see if it's here, and if it's here, I'll give it to you. But if it's here, but then you still looking at me like I'm a scum of the earth or whatever, but that don't make no sense, because I'm sitting here trying to help you, because I know if you're telling me that's it, I'm not going to sit there and argue with you. I'm going to see if it's true, and if it's true, boom, here it is.
Now, one important thing I do want to also point out, you made mention too, listen, this is not just my children. No. I'm not saying that my children did not participate in this activity. Yeah. well, let's just be real. This is not all because of my children.
Yeah.
So now you have other people's children that, you brought your children who came up in a loving environment. And I want to make sure I keep stressing this because people don't share this. They just share, like I said, all the time. They just share the bad. So now you brought your children up and you taught them right from wrong. You gave them what they needed. And now they come down here, they get linked up with these groups or as we know now, zones and all this other stuff, and now they're bringing not just your children but other children is dropping all of this stuff off to your house. So now you get to the point where police is called, police come handle the situation, you're giving items back to the people who was victimized, and that speaks volume about you as a parent. Let's get to what ended up happening this particular day, and this is why we have you here. We want to cross, or as I say, fast forward this to what would be the day that no parent wants to hear what happened. Share us the story about this day.
Well, I don't know if those of you that don't know, my son Wajiyb Williams was murdered back in October 16, 2016. That particular day, well, actually, I'm going to go back the day before. I just wasn't feeling good that day. I slept all day long. I slept all day. Something that I never really do because working 2 jobs at a time, I was exhausted and my body just shut down. It was like, you got to rest. Woke up at 11 something p.m. and Wajiyb had made me a cheeseburger, and we just sat down and watched this movie called Unbroken by Angela Jolie. And we discussed the movie, and I'm like, that's amazing, that movie. Anything they did to this man, they couldn't break him. They could not break him. And then, we just talked about the message, and I told, we talked about discussed the message behind the movie, and I was like, that's, whatever. The next day, the following day, I went to Publix earlier that day and bought some food or whatever. And I got home, Wajiyb was like, Mom, I'm hungry, what you got to eat? So I was like, well, I warm me up some food or whatever, particularly some chicken wings and potato salad and some Hawaiian rolls. And
so he was cooking good.
So I was like, it's ready, it's in there, whatever. And he was like, okay. He grabbed a plate. And he grabbed like 2 or 3 wings, and he was like, Mom, can I use your, he went into the room and like, can I use your phone? Something's wrong with my phone. And I was like, okay, go ahead and use the phone, but I'm gonna need it back because I was doing something on the phone. And about an hour later, he was like, I'm gonna be, we were talking about, actually, that same day I went to go visit a friend of mine whose husband had got murdered as well, and I was talking to him about it, and he was like, oh yeah, I heard about that, and but we're gonna talk about that when I come back. I'm gonna go to the store to get something to drink right quick. So I was like, all right, now you're not supposed to be out there, just hurry up and come back. And I was like, all right, I love you. And he was like, love you too, because that's something I always done with my kid. Before we leave, we always say, I love you. I don't care if it's like for a second. It's just, I love you, because I always taught them you never know, when is the last time you'll see that person. You always say you love them. Leave them with a good spirit,
Right.
And that particular day, I didn't feel weird. I didn't feel, nothing. I just, he was going to come right back. And it was me and my daughter Imani and my grandbaby Alea. We was at the house, and my daughter got the call first. And she called me and she was like, Ma, they're saying that they were shooting in Hallandale. And I'm like, so I was thinking, like, what that got to do with me, because I know it was a corner store.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that. But anyways, Imani was like, they don't know where Wajiyb is at. And I was like, well, what you mean? So I was like, then I got the call and was saying, Ma, can you come over here? Wajiyb has got shot. And I couldn't move. I was like paralyzed, but then I had to use the restroom, and I couldn't stop using the restroom. It was like my nerves were bad or something. So then when we went and took off to Hallandale, the police took my number and, you know, gave me a little detail. You know, they didn't have any details at the moment, but they were saying the ambulance had just taken him. And then we just took off to the hospital. And when we got there, they wouldn't even let us in. But I was, you know, we was just sitting out there praying and just, you know, hoping that everything was going to be all right.
Let me stop you for a minute. Because I want the parents to understand what you just said. Also, to the friends and to any other child that may be paying attention to this, you said two things. First of all, I want to go back because this is something I didn't even know. You said y'all was watching a movie called Unbroken. That'll preach by itself because God gave you a preamble of what you were getting ready to experience. Never knowing when you were watching that movie that God was preparing you for something that you were going to have to actually live. Now, I've never seen the movie, so let me put this out there. But when I'm hearing the title of the movie, it speaks to the volumes of saying, listen, you're getting ready to go through something, but it's not going to break you. Not that it won't shatter, not that it won't hurt you, but it will not break you. Now you're speaking about, we watched this movie, here it is, we talking about it, and then what he says to you next was, we'll finish, you know, he's talking about somebody who just got murdered. Mom, we'll talk about that when I get back. Then you said, I prepared him a meal. It reminded me, and I'm not going to preach to you, but to my viewers and to my listeners, they know I can never do nothing without preaching. Even before Christ left, he prepared the meal. And told me, this is going to be the Last Supper that you're going to have. You said when you prepared, when you talked, when you did it, you got rest first. You prepared this meal.
It's like
you
God was preparing me physically and
mentally for what you're about to go through. And that is, I'm trying not to cry, be honest with you. Yeah. Now we get to the point where, Jesus, when he leaves and you give him those 3 words, I love you, which I said is very important. And I said it before, here goes with it. You said it before, you don't want to leave the presence of your children without them knowing that they are loved. Now he walks out, never knowing this is the last moment. You know, you get this, your daughter get the call, then you get this call. Now you saying that you had to come over to a place where a police officer gives you no information about what happened. You know, I'm sure, like you said, you know, you get this call, what do you mean? What, you know, he's got shot. He went around the corner to the corner store. You live in Hollywood at this time. He's over in a whole other city. And you said something which means hurry back because you know you're not supposed to be out there. That let the kids know right now, listen, when you say you're going to do something, stick to what you tell me you're going to do because you never know when something can happen, you know? Now you get over to the hospital, like you say, and I can tell the story because I was there, but I want to hear from you. Like you said, we praying, we're everybody's just believing in.
I had so much faith that my son was going to come through this, you know, that I just didn't even worry. I was afraid, but I wasn't kind of worried because I was like, we're going to get through this, you know, we're going to get through this. But then, you know, when I got the news, you know, it was just like, it was unreal to me. It was like, I still didn't believe it until I went to the funeral home. And I kept saying I want to see him because, and they wouldn't let me see him.
My quick question, because I don't want the viewers to be lost here, and I think it's important because most people think when someone gets shot and they pass, the very first thing we think about is this person got shot in the head, this person got shot in the chest. where did you hear he got shot at? Which gave you that glimpse of hope that he was going to be okay.
They told me, well, someone said that he got shot in the butt, like in the buttocks. And it was just one shot, but it wasn't just one shot. And it wasn't.
And there go again, Channel 66 News. Just people on the street telling you what they heard.
It was, the shots were behind his back somewhere, and I don't know the location yet until I go to court. Okay,
so now we know where he was shot at, because like I said before, you have people that feels, you know, as people will say, he got shot in the butt. You know, now you having people giving you hope. Oh, you know, I mean, I remember people saying, "Oh man, now he gonna notice this behind down somewhere." You know, we out there laughing and joking and thinking everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And then what happened next?
Then the doctor came out and spoke to us briefly, and said that my son was fighting for his life. That they were doing everything possible to keep him alive, and that, you know, they'll keep us posted. And then I was like, well, you know, how serious is this, you know? But I'm like, you know, I'm gonna keep my faith in God. I'm not gonna fear it, whatever. And then an hour later, they called us back there. I'm thinking I'm gonna have some good news, or, you know, just tell us how the surgery went. But it wasn't that. It was that they did everything they could, and he didn't. He actually passed away twice.
Wow. And I remember, now you just mentioned it didn't feel real to you until you got to the funeral home. And I don't even want to take you back to those memories. I want to spare you those. But as a mother, as a parent, and as we get ready to bring this session, draw it to a close, as a parent that had to make funeral arrangements for your child, to go through that experience of not only yourself going through the hurt, you know, preparing your other 5 children to, and might I add, your grandmother, so 5 children, grandson, granddaughter, brothers and sisters of your own brothers and sisters, just your mother, preparing everybody, and I want to commend you on the strength that you exuded during the time that you were going through that. Ingrid, I seen you stand firm. Even when I thought you should have broke, you didn't break. The strength that you gave, and I want to say you gave him a lovely, and I know this may sound oxymoronic, but you gave him a lovely homegoing service. And to me, just the record-breaking number of everyone that was in attendance, you know, people was looking and anticipating on, when is she going to cry? When is she going to break? Yeah. You know,
I had family members that were worried about me that stopped me and was like, "Are you okay? Do you need to go see somebody? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm fine. I'm okay. I just, you know, I'm kind of numb, but I'm okay. I you know, I accept that. I accept that my first son is gone. I don't like it. I don't, but I can't do nothing about that." And, you know, people say I'm strong, but I don't think I'm strong, because I break down and I cry. Sometimes I get angry. Sometimes, you know, I just don't want to be here. But my strength comes through my faith in God. And that's what carries me. So I don't have the strength that I have from my God. Is the strength that runs through me. And I have a lot of faith in God. And I think that's what keeps me level-minded.
Let me ask you a question. Your faith could not be, and I just want to pour into you real fast, God didn't just give you that faith when you were going through this. Because if he, number one, I know God will never put more on you than you can bear. I know that and it's crazy because of some journeys that God allows us to go through. We oftentimes want to question God. I've been there before.
Yeah.
You know, losing 3 children at one time, my very first time ever conceiving, and seeing them die. You know, I've been there before. I have my own testimony. But the craziest thing that I hate, and I'm going to be honest with you, is when a person tells me, I know what you're going through. You don't know what I'm going through. You don't know my story. That's why I felt that it was important. Because I know you mentioned to me before, you wanted to find a way to get your story out to people. So other people don't have to feel the pain that you're going through. We talked about the family. We talked about the love. We talked about the transition when you started noticing things. We talked about, you know, even to the point of you feeling like, hey, I need some help. I need to do what I need to do to save my children. Unfortunately, something happened where you couldn't save one of them. Now it brings me to where we are now. As a mother who had to endure such a pain. And as I said before, we don't want to discuss anything that could be brought up in trial, and that's not what we're going to do. We're not going to do that here. But what I do want you to do, there are some friends of your son who I know undoubtedly love him with all their heart. And I know that there are some people that feels, hey, let me get back, speaking in layman terms or street terms, let me go get this cat for my dog. What is it that you will want to tell Wajiyb's friends?
Well, like I said, at his memorial thing that he has the following day, I don't want people going back and forth. That's not what our family wants. We don't want that, going back and forth and retaliating or whatever. That the revenge comes from, let God handle the situation, and that's what I believe in. And if the court system has that situation, let them deal with that as well. My family is not a revengeful type of family. I didn't teach my kids to grow up to do that. And I don't want that. I don't want any violence. When I see violence on TV, I cry for the mothers. I used to do that even before this happened. So now I join the masses of those mothers that I could actually know what they've been through, know what they feel like, know what it's like to just want to just sniff him, you know, just hug him and touch him, just to talk to him at night, and he's not there. Now I know what it's like when that child, when that soul disappears. But I just don't want any violence. I wish that these kids would stop killing each other, because you're actually making it easier for the people that want us dead. You know, you're self-destructing each other instead of trying to do something with your life. Go to the military, or go to the college, go take a trip, take up a trade. It's easy to change your life and turn your life around. Today is here, it's the present, but tomorrow's never promised.
Right.
If you get tomorrow and you decide to change your life, do it.
Right.
Take off if you have to take off. Go to the military. Change your life if it's not going right for you. Because you're either going to end up dead or serving 30 plus years in prison. And that's where they want us. That's why we can't progress. That's why we are still in the hood. That's why even if you're in the hood, you're killing each other. You know, it's all right to be in the hood, and you still, you know, you're taking up for your community and being a leader to your community. But to just destroying yourself and destroying each other, that's not good.
So we're at the point now we're beginning to self-destruct.
Just self-destruct. The youth, we're burying more children than the elderly. The elderly are outliving our children. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. When I was growing up, they used to tell us that we won't live past 25.
Wow.
Now these children they're not living past 15, past 19, 20, 21, 22. And all the gun violence, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, they're afraid to fight. What I don't understand. A fight is not even good. But at least, like they say on Friday,
that's right. Fight to live another day. Now you know what? That's one question that I didn't ask, and I'm glad you brought that point out. At what age did this happen to Wajiyb? Because remember, I know,
Yeah.
but for the viewers, they don't know how old was Wajiyb when this happened.
My son was 19 years old.
19 years
old, changed his life around, stopped doing all the stupid stuff he was doing, about to go and get his transcript so he could go to BC to be an EMT or to be a mechanic. He was trying to do something with his life. He had a girlfriend that him and his girlfriend had plans to go to school together, go away to Atlanta and start a whole new life. But
so here it is, once again, not to go back, loving family, went astray, made up in his mind, I want a better life.
Yeah.
And I keep going over those phases because I want the parents to pay attention to the signs. And I want the youth to know that it's not too late. I don't care what you've done yesterday. And that's one thing I'm hearing you say. Listen, it's okay that you messed up before.
Yeah.
You know, make up in your mind that tomorrow is not promised. So let me start making my life better today. Like you said, one thing I love the point I want people to pick up on is, another thing is, he made up in his mind, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of the court system or the juvenile system or whatever system he had to rest in. But he made up in his mind that I want to do better. And it's unfortunate when he made up in his mind, I want better, this happened. But I also want to say, I thank God that God took him when he made up his mind to do right. Because, you know, spiritually, we know if he would have got caught during the wrong time, we know what would have happened.
And another thing about that is that, you know, my son and I had deep conversations, and during this time we really were close because at the time, you know, I was homeless, and me and him spent a lot of time together because we were sleeping in my truck.
Wow.
And we would, you know, go back and forth or whatever, and, you know, at one time he kind of like, you know, was like, you know, why does God allow us to go through all this stuff or whatever? And, you know, he was questioning about God a lot. And he, you know, at one point he was like, I don't know if I believe in God because there's so many things that happen. And I'm like, well, you don't say that, first of all. You know, don't. Of course you believe in God. You were brought up that way. You just, you know, you went astray. These are decisions that you made. But at the same time, you know, at that moment when he was kind of like breaking down, you know, and he was like, why is this, you know, and that's when I knew he changed, because we was in the, I mean, this is the rock, I went rock bottom, I lost everything.
Wow.
And for him to just sit there with me and not go do the things he used to do, where he could have got his money, whatever.
You knew God was working on it.
He was working on it. And I said, you know, he was like, I know. He was like, I know, you know, I know we could get us about this, but I can't, you know, I don't want to do that. I said, I told him, no, you're not going to do that.
As you just said, he had the right to go back and do what he was doing. From being homeless, as you said, sleeping in a car. Now, I don't know nobody else. If I find myself sleeping in the car, I'm thinking about 5 or 10 things I possibly have tried. But he knew what to do. But he said, I don't want to go back. So it gets to a point where, like you said, you knew God was working on him. You know? And to the believers, you know, there has to be something. Because you're telling us, even being homeless, you kept the faith in God while sleeping in a car. And because of your faith, your son's faith was renewed. Because like you saying, he made up in his mind, I don't even know if I believe in this God stuff. Because, you know, most times, most believers get that way. Most believers get to the point of, okay, if this God is supposed to be so real, why am I suffering? Why am I going through this? Why am I sick? Why am I homeless? Why am I how did I lose my job? You know, I'm trusting in God. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And for God to let me go through this, you know, and hear that you weathered this storm, I just want to commend you on that. Now, lastly, the last question, and I know we're getting ready to get out of here for tonight, and I want to thank you again for sharing your story, but you spoke to us, you gave us your story, and I'm recapping on all of this, and you told us about that traumatic day. You gave a word to his friends. what is it that you want to say to the parents?
To the parents, all I can say what I did that worked for me. Well, I don't even know if it worked, but I kept faith in God, and I never gave up on my children. I would not let up on them. I don't care what it was. I did not give up on them. I knew how I raised you. I know what your capabilities are. I knew what you had, all your gifts, and I knew how you could shine the right way. I'm not going to give up on you until it's done. And that's one thing that we have to, even though they drive you crazy, you want to give up, you want to throw the towels in, you just can't give up. You're going to have to do it a whole nother, find all kind of creative ways to try to be there for them, because deep inside they're going through something that you don't even know. It could be something simple, the father not being there. It could be a relative that passed away that they were close to. It could be anything that sets them off, but we don't know because they shut us out. So you got to learn how to communicate with them and dig that out of them. I had to dig it out of Wajiyb, why he was doing this and why he was doing that. And Wajiyb was very timid. He was very, he wasn't able to express himself. And I got it up out of him. I got that up out of him. And, that's all I want to say. Just don't give up on your children. If they out there wilding out, get them. Try to get them. Pray for them. Keep the faith. And, just don't give up on them. Show them love. You know what I'm saying? Just show them lots of love, because the love is also something that we're not showing our children enough. And I'm not saying love by buying them Jordans, buying them whatever they want, getting their hair done. Love is from the heart, from the soul. Show them and teach them about God. Because one thing about Wajiyb, before he died too, after he died, I found letters that he wrote. And I was going through them, and he was writing to God.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? He was like telling them, thank you, for everything. And he found God, you know what I'm saying, in a hole in the county, you know what I'm saying, in the hole, when they put you in solitary.
Right. Solitary.
That's what he found. Like, he renewed his faith in God.
And now, if I can use your testimony real fast to encourage somebody else, I want to bring this to a close by saying this. What she just said is so profound. Your son, coming up in the right atmosphere, found himself in bondage. And I can imagine, as a parent, as a person, none of us want to witness our child or children ever going behind bars. We don't know why God does what he does. We just know he's the author and he's the finisher of all things. And God would never put more on us than we can bear. Most times we are taught never to question God. You just have to trust him. As my friend Janika and TC Mac always say, sometimes you have to trust them when you can't even trace them. But one thing I witness is that God will never, ever, 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 ever fail us. That's one thing he will not do. So because of that fact, God does things in his way. And so what he did was he allowed your son to be in bondage, so therefore he can deliver him. And that there is a powerful thing. He knew the day and the hour. The Bible records that no man knows the day nor the hour when the time is going to come for us to leave here. So God had to equip him for his departure. And I go back to the movie, even to the point he could have died in the situation that he was in, because his days was already numbered. God allowed him to get out, so therefore you can have that moment with him, that you could be able to share those final days with him, so that you'll be able to prepare your son the Last Supper. For you to be able to tell your son, look at him square his eye one more time and tell him, I love you. So like you said, he would not leave here knowing that he was not loved. You had the opportunity to let your child know that he is loved. As you said to the parents, Listen, parents, when you go to work, you don't know where your child or your children may be. You may think your child is doing the right thing. You may think your child is in the right place. You may think your child is hanging around the right group. One thing I like what you said is, when you find out your child is not doing the right thing, when you find out your children are not in the right place, when you find out your child has done something that they're not supposed to do what you have to do to save your children. God forbid you have to sit in this seat where Miss Ingrid is seated. One thing you want to be able to do is know that you've done the best that you could do and could have done. I want to tell you, Miss Ingrid, thank you, thank you, thank you, because you don't know how many families, how many people that you're going to change by just sharing your story. I know there's a lot more you could have said. I know there's a lot more we could have went into, but as I said before, we want to spare some details because this is still fresh, and I want to make sure we don't cut the wound that is trying to heal. But we do want to be able to give you a platform to share your story. And I believe that this is just a good time from the family to thank everyone for your prayers, your calls, floor arrangements, monetary donations,
everything. All
acts of kindness. Thank you to everyone. I'm sure.
Yes,
You know, here on DBN, Distinct Broadcasting Network, I want to encourage everyone to, first of all, keep Miss Ingrid in prayer. As she said, this is something she haven't just cried about, she is still crying about. It's another day's journey. Every day is another day's journey. One thing I believe, God has given you a guardian angel to watch over you. I'm a firm believer.
Yes.
He has given him the opportunity to become your guardian angel. To the family, he has a father. Whether anyone thinks whatever about the father, that young man had a father. Yeah. And to the father, I want to keep you encouraged in prayer as well. To his sisters, Destiny, Mecca, Imani, Kevin, I want to tell you, I'm praying for you. It is very important to know that you have people love and care for you. Once again, Miss Ingrid, I want to tell you thank you for sharing your amazing story here with Distinct Talk Broadcast Systems. To all my listeners, once again, thank you for tuning in to Distinct Broadcast Network. Following myself, Minister Rembert, I want to encourage you to continue to lift us up in prayer. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio. You can also feel free to look us up at www.distincttalk.com. Again, that's www.distincttalk.com. For calls, for prayer, please feel free to reach us at 1-800-734-7980. Remember, you can always feel free to advertise your company here on our broadcast totally free. For more information, give us a call, 1-800-734-7980. Signing off on tonight's broadcast, I am Minister Rembert, and I want to tell you thank you.